Thank you, everyone, and welcome to Workshop S for the flexible technologies in a classroom and home environment. Jason, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Perfect. And so my name is Alvin Shum, the Director of Service Delivery for IT, and I have with me Jason Cousins, who is the Manager of Technical Support and Interactive Technologies. We're here to present and thank you for participating and coming into our session. Our demo and our presentation will be about the technologies in a classroom related to flexible environment. And hopefully you joined the session this morning from Amy. She had run 2 sessions around the HyFlex flexible design and how to create and present and actually facilitate a classroom. And so in moving through the slides, thank you, Jason. What we're doing is we're going to show you what this technology is about. But first off, what is the flexible learning? Again, it's using innovative technology and providing it in an environment such as a classroom or in a home setup, a home office, to provide a experience that's immersive, so that if you are a student connected from home, you do feel like you're still part of the class with the other students that are physically here in the classroom. If you want to move on to the next slide, Jason, thank you. So the technology itself, we'll showcase that after. But right now I'm in a classroom here at Newnham, and it's in one of our technology enhanced classrooms. And around me, I have 7 televisions, multiple microphones built into the ceiling, as well as speakers. But what we did was, because this classroom was built in a certain fashion based on the needs, the costs were quite high. And so in order to build a flexible environment, we took 2 of the technologies from this classroom. One is a camera that's built into the back that's actually showing me right now on the stream. And it's an auto tracking camera. And the model is called the TR530. It's an AVer camera. And then there's also a wireless mic that I'm actually wearing, a lapel mic, and I can show you that later. And it's clipped onto my belt. The third technology that Jason is in his meeting room / home office space is the tiny Osbot camera. And again, that one's more for home use based on the size as well as the tracking and the optical zoom capability. And it's called the tiny Osbot. So in terms of all this, we've identified the technology. We know we need to create a flexible environment for you as a faculty, a professor to teach in a synchronous mode. What we've now done is we've started to equip and install these technologies into specific classrooms, labs, as well as any type of edit or radio edit suites or studios, specifically at Seneca at York. And this wasn't determined by IT. We actually had multiple discussions with your dean, as well as the chair, and some of yourselves in participating in the discussions, along with the AuLarge team. So Claire Moan, who's representing the AuLarge and working with myself and Jason on this, has also been discussing and working with the academic areas. And what we're doing right now is we're equipping the classrooms over the next week in time for the summer term. So there's 21 classrooms in total that have been identified that will have this technology. And this will be piloted over the summer. So in saying that, the training itself, once we have the rooms built out, we will be sending out email communications with the chairs and the faculty. And then we'll include the deans, and we'll have folks on site to do the training, of course, following the health protocols, as well as remote training as well. So what we like to get into now is actually the demo of the technology. And if I can ask before we switch over to that, if you're not set up in your Zoom to be in spotlight mode, please do that. And what that does is it'll put myself and Jason, when we speak, as your full screen, or at least a bigger portion of your screen, so you can actually see what the technology looks like. And then what we'll do after the demo is, as you have questions, please type them in. We do have David Trin, who's on here as well, and he's part of the team, where he's helping us over the next 2 months to give a faculty perspective to help us communicate and support and really give us that perspective of maybe there's some gaps that we have with this technology, again, as we're piloting this. But we feel very confident because David did come from a HyFlex flexible technology environment, because he actually taught, I think 3 years ago now, David, with the Canadore project. So he actually had students participating from Canadore College and remoting into the classroom at Seneca at York. Okay. So with that, we'll get to it. And it says here, so speaker view, thank you, David, for that. So we'll get started. So I'm in a classroom, and what you'll see here is I do have a lapel mic attached to me, and this is part of the technology. And as I'm walking around in the classroom, you can actually see and you can hear me. And you can see, a desk here or a table. Let's say there's a couple of students here, and me as a professor, I start to converse with them. And if they ask a question, they can now hear what I'm saying, the students that are connected remotely, as well as see what's happening. So this gives you a good idea of what this auto tracking camera does with the wireless lapel mic. The other thing too is within this, you can actually write on the whiteboard. And so the students that are in class can see what I'm doing. But for you at home as a student, you can also now see what's being written on the whiteboard as well. Outside of that, if there are questions from a student, or if there's some type of, how do I manage both physical in class as well as online, there will be some things you'll have to change, as Amy mentioned during her session, is actually designing your course and how do you deliver it. One of the things that we have spoken about when we do this piloting is IT will provide, including myself and Jason, support physically on campus. So if you are piloting over the summer, we will work with you within your class so that we know what your schedule is like, and then we'll actually physically be here to help you and give you that support for the first couple of sessions, so you feel comfortable delivering in this type of method. Okay. The other piece here is, right now we're in a static room. We've also built out mobile carts. So we've had a couple of use cases where we've had to actually work with the faculty to build out this cart. And on this cart also has this camera. It auto tracks, and then it's got a power supply at the bottom to plug in your laptop to, because if you have a back-to-back course, we want to ensure that your laptop has enough power, along as well to support the camera. And then you've got the wireless mic here. So this actually allows you to be a bit more mobile and nimble depending on your use case. So that's where we have these mobile carts. With that, I will pass it on to Jason now for him to demo out the home use office setup. Go ahead, Jason.
Thanks, Alvin. So as Alvin said, my name is Jason Cousins, and I'm the manager of technical support and interactive technology here at the college. Alvin just demoed the Aber camera, which is a camera that's perfect for a classroom. It's a fixed camera that's mounted at the back of the classroom and basically auto tracks or follows the instructor as he or she goes back and forth or around the classroom. What I'm going to demo for you today is a camera that we call the Osbot Tiny. So it's a small 1080p camera, extremely tiny. That's why they call it tiny. You can see it fits right in my hand. And it comes shipped with a tripod. So you're able to mount a tripod to the bottom of it and put it to a desk, or a small magnet that allows you to mount it on top of your laptop display or your monitor. So it comes with these ready to go, so you can put it on a tripod or on your monitor. So this camera, similar to Alvin, has the built-in AI, the artificial intelligence, to be able to auto track. So as I move around this small room, I'm at the Newnham campus, just around where Alvin is. Just give me a second. I'm at the Newnham campus, just where Alvin is, and it has the built-in intelligence to start follow me as I move back and forth in the room. So this camera is perfect for a small space, and I've used this camera as part of my teaching. I teach a course here at the college, and students really find or really receptive to this camera. It provides the ability to move, as Alvin says, back and forth in your space, give the student that immersive feel as if they're a part of the classroom, or in my case, it would be a small meeting room. I'm able to write on the board if I wanted to, so I can draw on the board, and you're able to see what I'm doing. I can do math equations similar what Alvin did, and you're able to see it. But not only that, this camera has built-in artificial intelligence. So by using hand gestures, I can change the way the camera operates. So if I put up a hand gesture like this, the camera detects it, and the camera knows that I want to zoom in. So now you see that the camera zooms into me. You can probably see a little bit clearer on the board. And what if I have a piece of equipment and I wanted to demo, and I wanted the students to be able to see it a little bit clearer? Now I can pick up this piece of equipment and I could go into detail and talk about that particular equipment, and they're able to see it with this Osbot Tiny camera. If I wanted to zoom out, I simply go back in front of the camera. I put up the hand gesture to zoom out, the camera detects it, and the camera zooms back out. Now, what if I don't want the camera to follow me? Because right now the camera is in the follow me mode. As I go back and forth, you'll see the camera follows me. If I wanted the camera to stop following me, I simply put up a hand gesture, the camera detects it, and if I move, the camera no longer follows me. So I'm walking out of frame, and the camera is not able to follow me as I move out of frame. But if I wanted the camera to start following me again, I simply go back in front of the camera, I put up the hand gesture, the camera detects it, and now when I move, the camera is able to follow me as I move back and forth in this room. So once again, this is a perfect camera for a small home or office environment. If you're at home and you have a small whiteboard, a small whiteboard maybe costs $120, and you want to be able to perform your lecture at home, you want to be able to write on the board so students can see what you're doing. Perhaps you have a piece of equipment similar to what I had a while ago, and you wanted to demo that equipment. You want students to be able to see it. And overall, you want to give the students the complete immersive feel as if they're in the classroom. The Osbot Tiny is a perfect fit for that type of use case. So between the Abra camera Alvin has that he's demoed inside the classroom and this Osbot Tiny camera, I believe these two choices will make a complete or a more flexible solution for you for home or at in the classroom. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over for any questions you may have. We're open to answer any questions.
What I will add as well is this presentation at the bottom, if you want to go back to the presentation, Jason, there's some content on the end that has the links to the camera, as well as we've created a ITS webpage under our intranet portal that actually has a recording of what we did specifically in these two rooms that you can actually access anytime and share with your other faculty that may not, your coworkers that may not have been able to attend this, but it does give you more information around that as well. Okay. And there's the link there. Now what we can do is we can jump to the questions here. Let's take a look here.
Yes, so we have a question here from Isabella. What will the virtual projection look like with the in-class projector in use?
Perfect. So what we can do here, so right now, if you notice, I'm standing at the front and I've actually turned off the projector, but I can turn it on. And let's have that turn on. So the projector is warming up. I'll bring the screen down. This guy out of the way. And once the projector warms up, you'll now be able to see. So for the students in class, they'll be able to see exactly what's being presented here. For you as a faculty, you would actually need to share your screen as part of your online session. And then the students from home would be able to see the same link. Does that answer the question? David, if you don't mind, could you read out the next question?
Yes, yes. Okay, so the next question we have here is from Barbara. If we wanted to try out the TinyBot camera, how would we be able to request one?
Yeah, so if you wanted one of the Osbot Tiny, please email myself or Alvin Shum, and we'll be more than happy to get a camera to you for testing.
Great. I got another message here from Celio. I got an Osbot Tiny a few weeks ago and mounted it upside down. I can then use it as a document camera as well. So that addresses one of the questions earlier by Gabriel asking about how the resolution is and how it would look on a smartphone. Isabel is trying to clarify can you clarify share screen through Zoom?
Correct. So depending on if you're comfortable with your online remote classes right now, you could use Zoom, MS Teams, Cisco WebEx. And just like what Jason's doing now, so he has co-host presenter. He's actually shared his screen with the PowerPoint presentation up. He could choose it and share his screen. He could share anything that he has up on his computer so that the students from home would be able to see it. And it would also be projected on the projector here, because you would be using the Podium computer to run your course or run the class. You can also, just to add in here, record as well. So if you haven't recorded your sessions, you can do so within Zoom, WebEx, MS Teams, and it'll capture all of this video as well as the audio so that students can now go back to it. I noticed Cecilio is doing the document camera with the writing there. That's great. Thank you.
Excellent.
This question is not from the chat, but a question for myself. Is it possible, say, to disable the tracking and perhaps are there any presets? Maybe, for example, if you just want the camera to shoot only at the podium or perhaps only on the whiteboard, or maybe just a certain section of the classroom.
Yeah, so for both options. So within the classroom, I'll speak to that first, and then I'll let Jason, and Cecilia's been nodding his head. They can speak to the home office one. So within the classroom environment, we are working with the different faculty in the chairs, depending on which class, lab, or studio it is. We are going to set presets up so that you're able to use the remote, which we have right here. And this remote actually controls the auto tracking camera. And there's actually 3 buttons here that give you the preset settings. So we'll be able to program that, and then you can press the button and it'll zoom in if you want podium as camera 1, maybe over here is camera 2, etc. So there is that capability of doing presets. And then if you don't want it to track, there actually is a button to press to untrack it as well within the classroom. And I'll pass it on to Jason.
Thanks, Alvin. I'm looking at the studio, and it looks like he's got this. I was about tiny. I'll figure out. He's zooming in, he's zooming out, he's doing auto tracking. So that's great to see. That's really great to see. So yes, the camera does have the ability to stop the tracking. As I said, right now it's following me. It's a simple hand gesture. You simply go over to it, you put up the stop sign, and the camera picks it up. On the camera, when it's normal operations, you'll see a green light that it's good to go. When you put up a hand gesture, it changes to blue and starts flashing to say, I've recognized the hand gesture, and then it accepts it. So if I move out of frame now, it doesn't track me. If I go back into frame, once again, put up the hand gesture, detects it, flashes, and now it will follow me as I move throughout the room. So yes, it does have that ability.
And so in our podium here in this classroom, there's actually a default after, I think it was 10 or 15 seconds. If I stay static, the camera will actually go back to its home position, which is at the podium. So actually, we'll let that happen. I'll stand here and we'll let that happen. I thought I saw another question around if there were students within the class and I'm standing here talking to a group of students, what would the camera do in terms of tracking? So that's a great question. And we're still testing it out. But the feature of this camera is it locks on to the person that last moved. So if I'm sitting here and the students are talking and we're conversing and students connected remotely can hear, at some point, if I decide to move, the camera should pick me up and continue. However, if a student decides to say, hey, I've got to go use the washroom, they may stand up from this table and that camera actually may follow them. So there may be some of these nuances that we're still working out. But again, this is a pilot for the summer. And the technology itself, in terms of AI, has been improved greatly since the Canador days with David 3 years ago. Because we had to actually do presets and actually focus the camera specifically through a manual process.
We have a few more questions coming in. Shazeen is asking, if students are doing presentations in class, do they need the mic from the professor or will our mic pick it up?
That's a great question. So if you're doing a presentation, there's multiple ways you can look at this. If a student is physically here, then we can definitely put up a mic in the classroom for the student to use. That's one way. Another way is if a student actually brought their own device and they're physically in class, they could sign on to the same session that you're teaching, and then they could present using their own headset. So there's really a lot of ways you can manage and set expectations with the students who are presenting either in class or at home.
So I just walked into Alvin's classroom. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so
Come into frame.
So I'll be a student and I walk right into Alvin's classroom and you are able to hear me. So if I was a student and I asked the question, you'll be able to hear everything I'm actually saying.
There we go. So keep talking, Jason.
Yeah, so I'm just walking around the room similar to a regular student. I'll be sitting around, I ask a question and say, sir, can you please help me with this question? Can one of you please come over here and show me how to do this? And you're able to hear what I'm saying. I'm not speaking loudly. I'm speaking at a regular tone, but you're able to hear what I'm saying. And that's just using Alvin's lapel mic that he has on.
And you can see in the camera frame, we're really distant apart. You know, we've got the table, he's at the front. I'm actually halfway in the class here. And when Jason speaks, let us know if.
Yeah, and I'm just right at the front of the classroom, right by the whiteboard that I'm talking. I'm showcasing, this is a projector screen. We have a display back here. This is a specialized room. This is called a TEC room, Teaching Enhanced Classroom. So there's displays at the side and at the back as well. So I'm sure you can hear what I'm saying. And I'm just a student who's sitting in the classroom. Alvin is the instructor. And his lapel microphone is able to pick me up. That tells you the power of it.
Isabella, the mic is actually on my collar here. And you'll notice the camera's actually picked up Jason. So I'm out of frame now. So it's actually following Jason. It's not following me anymore.
So Alvin stopped moving and I was in frame. So it started picking up.
Yeah, because I was out of frame. But yeah, I've got the lapel mic right here on my collar here. Just right up here.
I'm gonna head back to my room.
Okay, thank you, Jason, for coming. That was great.
No problem.
Okay, we have a few more questions here. I will have two practical class sections for one subject at one time frame, which means my students will be divided into two labs. Can I use this camera and link it to the other class so everyone could see me at the same time? Or can I have access to the other class while I am in the other one physically?
That's a great question. So if I'm understanding it correctly, you would have two physical classrooms for you to access. Is that correct?
That's what I understand. Yes.
Okay. So if you have two physical classes and you've got two separate cohorts, it's the same class of students, but you're physically separating them. So 5 and 5 or 10 and 10, whatever the mix is. In this classroom, you would set it up the way we have it now. In the other classroom, you would actually log into the podium computer, just as if you were going to teach, log into your Blackboard, into if it's a Zoom session or a WebEx or an MS Teams, you would connect in so that you're now broadcasting in the other physical classroom, your connection in terms of the tool, the online tool. And then it would show up on the projector. So now what happens is the students in that other physical classroom can see what you're doing in this classroom. So you can use both classrooms physically to combine both students as long as they're physically in those two separate classrooms. I don't know if that answers your question or if there's more.
Is a mic, right, Alvin, in the second room?
Yes, you would need the mic. So the same setup, right? You would have the wireless mic. You can have the camera in that room turned on as well. So now students physically in this room can see who's connected in that classroom.
Okay, we have a comment here. 80% of communication is nonverbal. Being able to move around and use full body language is a huge plus in enabling engagement for a dynamic classroom. And yeah, I definitely agree to that. We have a question here.
Can I just comment? Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think one of the key points here too is us enabling the students and training them. And that was one of the key things that we pointed out as a team, along with Claire Moan from AuLarge and the deans and the chairs is, we're training up faculty and professors, but we also need to train up the students that if they do choose the flexible mode, that maybe they should turn on their cameras while they're connected at home, because that comment that was just made, body movement and nonverbal is very, very, very important. So it's good to promote, on camera while this is happening. And there you go, Gabriel. Agreed. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Do the students in the class hear you directly, or what comes through the microphone?
Oh, so right now, they hear me. They hear my voice. It's not projected through the system. My voice is projected when I'm speaking as if as if you were just teaching in class. The speakers are used for you. So if you're at home, Gabriel, Cecilio, if you decide to ask a question from home and you turn on your mic, the students physically sitting in here can now hear what you're saying through those speakers. Okay.
Okay, like this?
Yeah, like this. Go ahead, Cecilia. Say something and I'll regurgitate it.
Okay, I have a question. Can we request a microphone to test out as well?
So the question Cecilia just asked was, I have a question. Can I request a microphone to test as well? And this is actually being broadcast into the room through the speakers because Celio has his mic turned on at home. Okay.
I think that was a real question, Alvin. You wanted a microphone.
Yes, that was a question as well.
We will give you one, so we'll work with you on that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Another question that Cecilio had is, does the system have the capability for live transcripts or live subtitles?
So I believe right now within the Zoom, if you turn on closed captioning, and I don't know if Zoom has it built in. I know MS Teams has it because I've done it a few times. You can turn on the closed captioning feature within that online collaboration tool, and it'll start to translate and you'll have the closed caption and the transcripts start running up.
So does WebEx, Alvin. WebEx does that as well.
Okay, WebEx does it. I don't know about Zoom. So
Okay, I'm enabling it right now.
perfect. Mitra just said, yes, it has. Thank you.
Perfect. And I'm seeing another question here from Celio again. Does the camera tilt?
When you say tilt, right now it auto tracks and it'll zoom. But the way we've got it mounted in the room, it's physically mounted in like a metal tray. And so if you wanted to tilt it, I couldn't do it because it's physically mounted into the wall. Okay. But that would be a good question, I guess, in your scenario, if you wanted to mount it upside down or something like that, based on what you did with the tiny Ozbot. But in a classroom, we would actually promote you to use the document camera instead of the auto tracking camera.
Right.
Yeah.
If I may.
Sure.
This keeps distractions to a minimum, right? It keeps the camera from picking up most of the students by not tilting and only like panning from side to side.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If I can add as well, if you had a situation, say for example, where Alvin is, he wanted to zoom in on the podium or zoom in on the chair. The best scenario for that would be to create a preset. So you zoom in, pan down to where you want that preset to be. Once you have the optimal spot, you just save that as a preset. So next time you want to demo, you simply press preset number 1, 2, or 3, and it'll automatically pan, tilt, and zoom to that particular location. You wouldn't want to be playing around with the camera pan and tilt during your lecture. It'll just be too much work. You really use presets if you want to demo something specifically. If you have a piece of hardware, a piece of equipment, maybe on the board, you want to zoom in directly to the board, you can do that. Maybe you wanted to go straight to the podium, you can do that. That's when you'll probably use that PTZ and the presets. Yeah, I see Alvin is all the way to the exit of the room, at the door of the room.
We have a question from Isabella here. Well, I think these two questions may be related. The most recent one is, I'm not able to see the top of the projection screen. So if Alvin, if you stop right there on the projection screen there, it looks like the top might be cut off. I'm not sure if that's the case. And yeah, Isabella's, sorry, go ahead.
It'll look like it's cut off, but we've programmed it in a way where you should be able to see most of it. But these are all adjustments. You should be able to see, does it say flexible technology at the top there? And Seneca or no?
We don't see that.
Okay, so it is partially cut off, but this is adjustable, Isabella. So, based on the room that we're configuring in, this can be adjusted to focus a little bit higher.
Right, and I think that relates to Isabella's other question about launching Word or Excel to see what it would look like or what the user interface would look like virtually.
Now, to actually extend that, Isabella, just remember, I'm not sharing my screen here. Jason is. If I'm the professor or the faculty, if I was you and I shared my Word document, you would actually see the full screen. Does that make sense? Yeah. Jason, do you want to maybe discontinue your share and let me open up Word?
Okay.
Perfect. So let me just open up Word. I'll share my entire screen. Oh, host disabled, participant screen sharing. David or Jason, can you give me access to share?
Sorry, one moment.
Yeah, no problem.
I got excited there for a second. I thought you had a box of Timbits.
I think this could be related to you logging in as a guest. I'm not able to put you as host.
Got it. But so what I was going to do was open up Word and then share my screen. And so students physically in class could see what's happening, but you as a student at home now, you would actually see the full screen. You wouldn't see it cut off. But I get what you mean. You know, right now you're seeing this and it's being cut off because of the camera. But if I were to share the content, you would see everything in full screen on your home device.
Celia has a question. Can you use this system to proctor exams?
That's a good question. The only thing is, you know, because the camera, you know, I guess it's moving and you want it to focus on the student. This technology, you would have to have this in every student's home or wherever they live. So these cameras, the one that I'm using now is just under $5,000. So financially, I don't think it would be sustainable. And that's why they tend to use, and these software companies, they tend to use the software AI to help proctor exams and leveraging that built-in camera or an external webcam versus putting one of these into every student's you know, home or residence. So I would say no, just based on the cost.
And it's not like they can take the exam in the room and have the camera over them.
Yeah. But it's a good question.
Right, and that would probably lead to more of a teaching and learning type question with Amy's team and developing authentic type assessments and trying to navigate in that direction.
Yeah.
Let's see, another comment here from Scott. You can tilt and pan with the remote to capture the screen better with tracking on.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, and Scott actually, one of these carts is actually, I took from Scott and Anitha out of the fire protection. So this comes with a remote and you actually can use the Zoom feature. And I know Scott's been testing it out for his summer term. So thank you, Scott, for that response.
And looks like a comment here from Isabella. If I am teaching app, oh, sorry. Okay, when the students chat, I will see the lecturer see the, will the lecturer see the chat?
Yeah, so if you can tell, actually, let me walk into here. I've actually turned on the chat feature. And so I'm able to see what's being typed in here by the remote students such as yourself. So I'm able to now read and actually respond. And the students physically in this classroom can also see what's being typed in the chat here.
So keep in mind that whatever is on the screen on the teacher's display is what's projected inside the class. Now, for the remote users, you have the ability to share a specific application. So for example, if you were using Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you can share only PowerPoint and they would only be able to see the PowerPoint. The chat screen that comes with whatever collaboration tool you're using will not be visible. But because the teacher's machine in the class is designed as such where whatever is on that screen is projected on the projector, it will actually do that. Now in this particular classroom, there's two monitors. There's one monitor that is sort of a confidence monitor where instructors sort of run their slides. Maybe they have Blackboard open, maybe they're reviewing students' marks. And then the next monitor is what's presented. So you can use one monitor as your work monitor, your monitor that you view marks or do whatever you need to do. And then the next monitor is what gets displayed on the projector screen.
And you'll notice the camera has gone off of me. It's actually gone back to its home position. And I'm still standing here because I didn't move for a while. But what I'll do is I'll walk back to the podium, get myself back in frame, and now it's refocused back on me. So for this particular classroom, that's the way we've configured it. But in other scenarios that you may think of, you may not want that. So we're quite excited to work with each one of you. And you can raise it directly to Jason and I, and we'll loop in your chair if you want to, loop in your chair and your dean. We really are trying to promote as much as we can based on the last town hall employee meeting with David, and having flexible environments for students to take opportunity and take advantage of.
Celia has a question here. Can the session be casted through the TV screens? So you have some monitors on the wall there. Can the session be projected onto there?
Yeah, so let me turn on. So in this example, Celio and everyone else, because we're in this technology enhanced classroom, there's more technology in here than what we're actually promoting for the flexible environment. But in this particular case, if I go to the touch panel here, I can manage.
Whoops, it looks like we lost you there.
We might have lost Alvin for a second. He's changing.
Sorry, I broke the.
No worries. He's coming back. What Alvin was saying is that particular room is a room that's used by the School of ECE. It's a teaching enhanced classroom that's built around the flexibility due to previous partnership we've had with other colleges. So what he has the ability to do is all the displays on the side, at the back, and at the front can be used, because in that scenario, students do go into breakout groups. So the TVs are situated in pods, and when they want to do a breakout room, the students kind of work together as a group, and then the TV is displayed. You have the option of plugging your laptop in the TV and be able to view the content on the TV. So yes, absolutely, those TVs are definitely visible. It's that room is what we call one of our Cadillac rooms, but
Right.
we're able to use the equipment in that room, build additional rooms that are not even a quarter of the cost of that room.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just lost connectivity here.
We have you, Alvin.
Perfect. And what I did want to showcase, if you look on my other camera here, on the touch panel, this is where you can control, the ability to broadcast and cast and screen here. There's X's and green arrows, if you can see that.
So to see what Alvin is doing, you need to click on Alvin's. There's probably two Alvin now. You need to click on Alvin Shum, and you can see the touch panel that he has.
Sorry.
Hey, we have another question here. So while you are teaching, you need to look at the main screen in the room to see the students, to see what the students are seeing, right?
You have two options. One is you can look at the projector screen, and imagine you're in this is a standard room. This is you on campus. To see what the students are seeing, simply look at the projector screen, or go back over to the podium and look at the monitor. Whatever is being displayed there is exactly what the students are seeing.
Great. And how do breakout rooms work with this technology?
So that's a good question. You have the ability to do breakout rooms as well, but keep in mind, if you're in a classroom similar to where Alvin is, and you're doing breakout rooms, students that are in the classroom should have their own laptops and their own headsets, so as to not cause interference with the audio. Because if you have multiple mics going at the same time, you will get interference. So in that situation, you might have a laptop plugged in, maybe two other students in the class, maybe a student online is within that group. And these are things that we're still ironing out. but you could have students who are remotely, students who are in class, participate in that breakout room, and you maybe have your headset on as to not cause interference. So it's definitely possible.
And so what would happen in the breakout room is once we break off, and how many participants are there? I think 30. We break them off into 5, and we get 6 breakout rooms. You 6 would go into that breakout room, but you wouldn't see me or Jason. You would just see the folks that you've broken out into. You would turn on your camera, you would work together, collaborate. And then when the breakout session ends, you would come back to the main room and you'd re-see me as a professor again. And then we would then go through, okay, breakout session room number 1, tell me a bit about what you guys talked about, et cetera.
Okay, we have a question from Jan. Alvin, no laughing. How do you upload these recordings to Blackboard?
So depending on which tool you use to record with, after you're done your recording, within your Blackboard, under your, let's say Zoom, I'll take Zoom for example, you've got your Zoom there and you go into your Zoom link, it'll actually have all your recordings listed, the history. Your students would see the same thing. So now they can click on it and watch the videos. So there isn't really a need for you within Zoom to take the recording and then upload it to Blackboard. It's actually already set up in there for you.
Is it the same with WebEx?
WebEx, there's actually a link with a passcode that you would get. You would have to then copy and paste that link into your Blackboard. You know, you can post it as an announcement or under lectures, wherever you want it, and then assign it there so that your students know, you know, every lecture that you're doing, if you're recording it, it'll go there plus the passcode they need to access it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, just to follow on what Alvin was saying about accessing the videos, we did receive a communication from ITS earlier today about avoiding the uploading videos to Blackboard directly and instead having these videos hosted or being saved on either OneDrive or SharePoint and just creating a link to that and pasting that into Blackboard. So it looks like ITS is going to be moving forward with putting filters on Blackboard to not allow us to upload videos to Blackboard. So there are links in that email communication on how to create those links.
That's absolutely right. Thank you, David. And like I said, you know, it's copying and pasting the link from WebEx, or with Zoom, it'll save it to the cloud. And then when you go into your Zoom link, you actually see the history of your recordings. And when you click on that, that actually takes you out to the cloud. So you're no longer saving your recordings within Blackboard itself. And there you go, Hele, you had asked that question. So that was a clarification there.
Okay, I think we've, oh, sorry, I think I missed a question here. For breakout rooms, the face-to-face students would have to log into the Zoom meeting. So I think the question here is about when we have these breakout rooms, the online participants, they will be placed into breakout rooms, but what happens to the students who are physically in the classroom? Are they joining those breakout rooms?
Yeah, and Jason actually had alluded to that. So when you decide and you determine when you're designing your course and how you're going to deliver it for the, you know, the semester and how you're going to assess, and if you're going to implement breakout rooms, you will have to let your students know to bring their device into class, the ones that are physically here. And what they'll need is they'll need their headset. And when you start the breakout session, they can then join the link using their laptop or their device or their phone to then be grouped in with remote students, with a couple students here, but that's how it would work. So yes, they would need to bring technology into the classroom. So it would be a course requirement.
I'm not sure if we've addressed this other question from Celio. My students have a hard time accessing Zoom recordings unless I made them public.
That we can take offline, but from what I know, within Blackboard, under the course, under the organization in the course, in the bottom right, if you scroll down, under the tools, when you click on the Zoom link, every student, when they go into that, they'll actually see the listing of the link. But what you're saying is you need to make those public, and then students can then access it. Perfect, thank you.
When they join through the website as a guest, they don't have access to the recordings that have been password protected for privacy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
Right, and I think that concludes all the questions there, and right on time, around 2:55.
Perfect. And again, to wrap up, we'll have this deck made available. If you have any questions, concerns, if you want to pilot out either in a physical classroom or the at-home office, please reach out to me and Jason, and we'll ensure that we provide you the full support, because we're really excited to get this going. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David, for moderating as well.
My pleasure.
This is awesome. I was hoping you'd be talking about the ObSpot camera.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. How long have you had it for now, Celio?
Now about a month.
A month, eh?
About a month, yeah. And
Nice.
I love it. I had it mounted on the monitor first, right? But I felt like the if I was looking into the lens, it doesn't look like I'm looking at the class, like the eye contact illusion.
Yeah.
Right. So I mounted it upside down, and it's actually a little bit in front of my monitor.
Oh, wow.
Right. So then I can more easily create the illusion. And I can move this thing, whatever. Like, sometimes I'll just do this just to show the. Right. Like, if there's something, I get a little bit. I'm at home with toys, man. I'm gonna play around.
You're loving it, eh?
Very much. And I also started using this guy, and I don't know if you guys. I imagine you guys considered it. This is the Stream Deck, which allows me to launch applications with a single button, and control certain aspects of Zoom and other apps. Without having to go to the keyboard and type around and anyway
Or USB.
sorry, this is USB, yeah. And I've been playing with other things, like I even I got one of these guys a while back. I don't know if you can see it. No. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Right. Mixed results. I mean, like, these things are meant for very specific things. I was looking for a way of getting a good handle on Zoom, right? Because you miss stuff. You hit that screen share and all of your windows disappear, right? Or you hit, if you have more than one monitor, and I don't know how to turn this off. The moment you click on your presentation, then everything is taken over by PowerPoint. And I can no longer see the Zoom, and I can no longer see anything else that I have up, because I have the presenter's view, and then I have the presentation replicated, right? And it's crazy. So when it comes to home, I have been spending quite a bit of time and a good portion of the paycheck on.
Looks like you have a good setup there. I like it.
Well, it's been about a year. Just trying different things, right? And the thing is, I teach different film studies classes, so we talk about camera movement and backgrounds and stuff like that, and so I need to demonstrate that to them, right? And I found this camera just perfect for it, right?
That's really great to hear.
All right. Well, thank you. We will drop off. Take care, everyone.
All right, thank you, Alvin. Thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you, guys. That was amazing.
Take care, everyone.
David, take care.
Question, I have a question. Sorry. Jason, can you hang on 1 second?
Yeah.
So we have a question.
Sorry. You guys are great. This is, like someone said, one of the most interactive and fun sessions we've had all day. Jason, I'm not happy with the lighting and the resolution on your camera. Is that a limitation of that smaller camera, or is it something that can be adjusted?
So this is a 1080p camera, so it's not a 4K camera. Alvin's camera is a lot better quality camera. This is a camera for a small room. In regards to the lighting, yeah, I'm standing right where the camera is. There's two lights directly above, so that's where you probably see the glares on the whiteboard. But this is not indicative of all the room. It's based on the lighting of this particular room.
If I can add, Celio is actually using the Ozbot, right?
Right.
So he's actually at
That's
home,
correct.
and if you see him speaking, when he pops up, he I don't know if it's as clear as you're expecting it, Lorraine, but it looks clear on my end. I agree, the lighting in that room isn't as good as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using also additional lights. I can turn them off, and this is just a little bit of light that's coming through my window. This is one of those ring lights that you can adjust. The camera also has a setting where it can automatically adjust for brightness.
Yeah.
So depending on the room, it'll do different things, right? When it comes to adjusting light, and that's also a setting that you can have on Zoom, and I imagine on the other applications. So right now the camera is like totally zoomed in. You don't lose a lot of detail, I hope. But this is what the camera looks like all zoomed out. So you can actually, it can follow you around quite a bit.
Thank you. There we go.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and have a great day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks for sticking around.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.